This episode of ETC is brought to you by Pacific Rim Uprising. In theaters, March 23rd. Hey guys, time for News Dump.
So DC's movie universe looks like it might finally be breaking free from where it's currently locked down with the characters that we've already been introduced to through either freeze-frame slam cuts that name and then explain them, or being sought out by Bruce Wayne because he needs a little help saving the world after Superman's death. The New Gods, DC's recently confirmed film, will apparently have little to no connective tissue with the current film slate outside of a mention or appearance of Darkseid.
The news that this movie is actually going forward with production came thanks to an announcement that they've locked down a director for the project. Now, yes,
No takebacks.
we are well aware that they don't have the greatest track record when it comes to actually keeping directors on board and locked on the project.
But it's locked down. We got... where'd the director go?
No. But their pick it's definitely an interesting one because they've chosen Selma and A Wrinkle in Time director Ava Duvernay for the task of bringing Jack Kirby's The New Gods to the big screen.
Ava, you getting paid?
She's definitely getting paid.
This would be her second big budget film, having just recently released that Wrinkle in Time movie, which had generally mixed reviews and debuted second to Black Panther, which was still trucking along at the box office.
And continues to do so to this day.
Yeah, but it showed that she's more than capable of bringing what we could assume would be a space fantasy film heavily reliant on CGI to the screen.
Yeah.
While we can't be certain at this point how she and Warner Bros. Will be taking the vast storyline of the New Gods and consolidating it for a film, it's already apparent which of the characters is her favorite, thanks to a Twitter Q&A she did last year where someone asked, favorite superhero and why? To which she replied, gosh, that's hard, Big Barda. Many reasons.
Big Barda, according to a brief summary related
Big Barda!
That's the music cue that comes in.
Big Barda!
Here she is. Big Barda, according to a brief summary related to this announcement, was once the leader of the female Furies, not furries, having been raised since childhood by Granny Goodness. Great names. She abandoned...
Granny Goodness!
Granny Goodness! We're gonna score this film. She abandoned both Darkseid's service and Apocalypse as a whole after falling in love with Mr. Miracle. Got one for that?
Call me Mr. Miracle!
And instead devoted herself to fighting the nihilism at the heart of her former cause alongside her love and later husband. In many ways, Orion's counterpart, Orion! She too struggles against inner darkness in an attempt to fight for optimism and a better way that isn't inherently inside her. Barda's love for Mr. Miracle,
They call me Mr. Miracle!
provides an emotional anchor to the vast mythology at the heart of the Fourth World saga as a whole, and makes her one of the most well-rounded characters in the entire epic.
I didn't know what any of that meant, but they got cool names.
I like the names.
But that's not all the ultra exciting director news we have for you this week, because after a few months of rumors leading on to the fact that Danny Boyle may or may not be the next Bond director, it's now finally been single confirmed that he's involved on the project. Boyle himself confirmed the involvement in an interview with Metro, saying, we've got an idea. John Hodge, the screenwriter, and I have got this idea, and John is writing it at the moment, and it all depends on how it turns out. Bond would be right at the end of the year. Okay, so obviously he's not alluding to a release date for a film that doesn't exist yet being at the end of the year, but saying that if it all goes smoothly, everything would most likely head towards pre-production in late 2018.
So this coincides with the knowledge that he was already very high on the list of directors that MGM had their eyes on, and while we don't really think that this choice will bring, a lot of fresh new life to Bond, it'll most certainly make for a beautifully shot film.
Yeah.
It'll look real pretty.
Yeah, I mean, they've all looked pretty so far.
They just got a little boring, that's all.
Roger Deakins.
Yeah. I mean, you already know our opinion on how to spice up this classic franchise in the face of more exciting action films over the years. Get the directors of Crank or Transporter on board, or, you know what? Guy Ritchie or Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Let them helm the franchise. I mean, these are choices that would get us punched in the face by all of the James Bond purists out there, of which there are many. Yeah. Our friend wrote a book that is far too big for me to even read.
Yeah, way too long.
It's that thick.
Yeah.
I don't have time. But oh well, whatever. Even bringing back Martin Campbell, who directed GoldenEye and Casino Royale, that would be great. Casino Royale was one of my favorite newer ones.
I think GoldenEye was pretty nice. Great video game.
Great video game. None of this is to bash the choice of Danny Boyle, because he's gonna make an excellent film, but, We just hope that he can give this spy movie the adrenaline shot that it needs.
Bond's gonna get stuck between a rock and have to cut his arm off, and then he's gonna get bitten by the rage virus.
And the only way he can get...
And they're gonna Bollywood dance.
The only way that they can get the evil villain off their backs is by...
Doing heroin.
Winning a trivia contest.
On heroin.
Yeah.
He's got just a great film catalog.
I mean, it's wonderful. We joke, but he's a great
lovely
director.
director.
Yeah.
So now we have an update to a story that broke last year regarding Amazon's acquisition of the story rights for a Lord of the Rings prequel series, which they paid a staggering $250 million for, without knowing that the prequel for Lord of the Rings already exists, and it's called The Hobbit.
Yeah. They made 3 movies out of that.
Well, looks like they're going to be throwing the biggest budget they've ever come up with at this project in the hopes that it will bring in enough subscribers to Amazon Prime in order to offset the costs. And that's going to have to be a lot of people buying random bullshit at 1 a.m. because the budget for this series is going to be upwards of $500 million for at least 2 full seasons when it's all said and done. That, of course, takes into account the acquisition costs as well as production and marketing. It's expensive.
Yeah. So the article that this news came from is also actually really interesting because it sheds a bit more light on how well Amazon pulls in subscribers based on each show and how much those shows cost to produce. They even have a nice, easy to read infographic, which shows the scale of success for each show based entirely on how beneficial it is for the company. Obviously, this doesn't have much to do with the quality of the show or how it's received by viewers and critics. It's literally just how well these shows translate into subscriptions to their Prime service. The graphic is explained as follows. Internal company documents reveal Amazon evaluates TV shows by their cost per first stream, effectively the price to hook a customer on Prime. Amazon divides a show's production and marketing expenses by the number of people who stream that program first after signing up. The lower, the better.
Okay. It then illustrates that the Grand Tour, which is essentially the new version of Top Gear, is by far their best performing show, with The Man in High Castle Season 1 coming in at a close second, and then Bosch,
baby.
And
What's how would the Bosch song go?
They call me Bosch. I don't know.
I think you're losing your creativity as we
I'm
go on.
sort of repeating the same idea.
I would just have it be like something like
Bosch.
No. Dun 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 Bosch.
Bosch. Yeah. All the way down
on the bottom of the list.
bottom is Sneaky Pete, sneaking its way onto the list, and a show called Good Girls Revolt, which I've never heard of, which reportedly had a total of 1.6 million viewers in the US, but cost $81 million to make, with only 52,000 first streams worldwide by Prime members. Ooh. Those numbers put this show's cost per new customer at $1,560, which means that Amazon basically paid $1,500 for each new customer they acquired through airing the show on Prime.
Yeesh. It's very expensive.
At least they have the data to back up when they're like,
it's not
you're
working
fired.
out.
It's not working out.
Hey, good girls, and now it's us that's revolting on you.
Yeah.
But speaking of bad ideas that will probably end up costing this company a ton of money, Nickelodeon is apparently digging back into their old bag of tricks again and pulling out even more nostalgia bait for the parents who grew up on their channel and now have kids of their own, because it's been announced that Clarissa Explains It All.
Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
That song already exists, Elliot.
Hey, cool. Na 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 na.
Hey, cool.
That's literally.
I know. It's like it's looking back at it now. It's kind of a dig on the show.
Hey, cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right.
I like my favorite part. I think I've said this before. My favorite part about this, the episode that I remember is she really wants to go see Pearl Jam live.
Oh yeah.
And her like grandma or something like that, completely oblivious in a comedic way, goes, "Well, why don't you? You're going to see Pearl Jam? Why don't you invite your friend Pearl to our party?" Great comedy over there on Nickelodeon. But it's not just Clarissa Explains It All in name coming back. The show's star, Melissa Joan Hart, who is a recent convert to evangelical Christianity.
Oh, lovely.
Is returning as well. This is most likely in response to the unimaginable success that Netflix had with Fuller House, which means the plot of... it means that this plot will probably center around Clarissa explaining it all to her kids. With, maybe the help of her husband Sam, who used to climb into her room via a ladder, which...
Clarissa Explains It All should be Clarissa Explains the Border Wall.
Yeah. Clarissa explains sin. Not creepy at all that he used to climb into a room unannounced.
Wait, she married that guy?
No, well, I'm giving the ideas to Nickelodeon. So yeah, she'll have the help explaining things to her kids from her probably husband Sam, and their occasional visit from the gay Uncle Ferguson.
Your uncle's a sinner, and he's going to hell.
But
Yep.
be nice.
Yeah, Ferguson's probably gay.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. So yeah, sign me right up. But okay, yeah, let's move on to trailers for this week, starting with our sponsor, Pacific Rim Uprising.
Hey!
We are stoked that they decided to sponsor our show this week. The movie's dropping on March 23rd, so let's revisit the latest trailer and give you some more info on this film. So when Mako's long-lost surrogate brother and Stacker's estranged son, Jake Pentecost, played by John Boyega, is arrested by the PPDC while operating a rogue Jaeger, she sees this as an opportunity to bring him back to the Shatterdome.
Shatterdome.
That he once ran away from when he was a cadet. So she wants him to help train the next generation of Jaeger pilots, including 15-year-old Amara Namani, a streetwise Jaeger hacker who was also orphaned by the Kaiju War, who will be his first recruit. In the midst of training, the new recruits find that the Kaiju are attempting to return. The beasts have evolved and are now even more dangerous than they had been 10 years before. Unforeseen circumstances now force the new recruits into battle, bringing them head-to-head with this deadly threat. Perhaps before they're ready.
Almost certainly before they're ready.
They're very young.
Anyways, thanks again for the sponsorship. Make sure you guys check out that film on March 23rd. Also in trailers this week, we got a new one for Avengers Infinity War, which comes out in just over a month. This trailer is great.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid trailers for the most part. I watched this morning. It is damn good.
I felt something. It was weird.
Yeah, I know. My cold, dead heart, it was like this morning it just goes. But honestly, seeing all these characters on screen together finally after an entire decade of world building is so cool that it makes even the most cynical comic book movie viewers, us, get a few goosebumps. They're all fucking there. Iron Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Black Panther and the Wakanda crew, Captain America, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, and like 40 other characters that I've already forgotten about. The task of assembling all these characters into one single movie and telling their story that isn't a complete mess is something that would normally be impossible, but Marvel has done such a great job setting everything up to lead to this point that there's no way to not be stoked about this. And I love, my favorite part of this trailer is the interaction between Star-Lord and Tony Stark.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the best
for the first time.
Yeah, the best interaction is gonna be between them.
They're just like talking shit to each other. So I was like, "Your plan sucks."
Yeah. Who's this guy? Anyways, you're all gonna see it.
Yeah, you'll see it. Next up, Borg versus McEnroe. So Shia LaBeouf rightfully gets a lot of criticism for being a complete fucking weirdo, but there's no denying that when he's in the right role, he can absolutely kill it as an actor.
He went method and never came back.
And the role of real-life tennis great John McEnroe might be the most perfect role he's ever been cast in.
He's tennis's bad boy.
Tennis's crazy boy. Yeah, McEnroe, he was notorious for being not just incredibly good at tennis, but also for being prone to ridiculous angry outbursts and bizarre behavior. And that's definitely on display here in this trailer. The movie itself follows the lead up to the 1980 Wimbledon tournament where McEnroe faced off against Bjorn Borg, who was basically his polar opposite personality-wise.
He's a nice guy.
And so far, the festival reviews have praised this as one of the best sports movies ever. So this is definitely one to look out for when it comes out next month.
I'm excited for that. You know, a little off tangent, but I went down a Wikipedia hole this morning about Evel Knievel. Turns out, I mean, the guy was he was very anti-drug. He was a very like good person to look up to. Just besides launching himself, in a rocket over things and on a
be like
Harley
me,
Davidson.
kids.
But apparently, someone published a book when he was still at the height of his career, and it said that like he beat his wife or something in the book. So he went to the studio where the guy worked, and his friend held him down while Evel Knievel beat him with a bat.
What?
Yeah, he went to jail for a little while.
I don't beat people up.
Oh, you want to see me beat someone up?
Wow.
Yeah.
Extreme.
I mean, he lived life to the fullest. Anyways, finally, Adult Swim is apparently getting into the music festival business, and to promote it, they've teamed up with Run the Jewels to create a music video starring Rick and Morty. It's probably going to be a while before we get a new season of Rick and Morty, so if your IQ is desperately in need of some new material, it might hold you over. I mean, the animation is pretty damn great. It goes above and beyond the usual Rick and Morty style, with elements borrowed from anime and comics, and some really psychedelic sections as well. It's a great video. It's a nice contrast to the absolute trash that was the commercial for Logic's new album with Rick and Morty, where they're just, hey, do you listen to Logic? Yeah, let's play some Logic in the spaceship. Oh, but what one, Morty, are you talking about, his mixtape or his actual, it was just maddening. So this is a nice refresher. instead of that.
Yeah, it's nice to look at. It's very colorful.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
That's
And
my
don't
little
forget,
dance.
don't forget to join us Monday morning at 11:30 a.m. Pacific for ETC Live. Check out 2 other videos over here. We have a brand new episode of Weekly Weird News, as well as the tale behind the tape. What happened when Drake and Ninja teamed up?
And we find ourselves in the same old mess. Telling
Singing lullabies.
And I lost my leg!